Mike, where are you?
I'm in, mate. I thought, I thought I'd just turn up.
Oh, good.
Morning.
Morning.
Right, we got a special. He's a very close friend of yours, and he's become a very good friend of mine over the years. Who do you think it might be?
Russ Stevens.
Shall I bring him in?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just bring him in. Here he
Hello.
Russ.
How are you, Wayne?
Oh, how are you?
Good. Good. In
Good.
the circumstances.
Yeah. It's great to have you here, Russ, and it's great that you've agreed to this.
Nice to see that you've made the effort, Mike.
As always.
Always.
As always. As always. I have made the effort. I've come to the house.
I know.
Yeah, it's all good. This is the first time that we've done a coffee morning together, which is great.
Brilliant. Oh, is it? That's great. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That you physically.
Yeah.
I've been part of my bubble all the way through COVID so that I can come and help you.
Wayne doesn't sound as enthusiastic about it as you, though.
Oh. I'm all right.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, buddy.
All good.
So, we've got lots to talk about, right? First of all, I'd like to ask you some questions. Well, basically, it's questions about how it was on A Kind of Magic, because I'm sure everybody wants to know what's it like working for Wayne Dobson backstage rather than...
It was a laughing minute,
It was good
wasn't it?
fun, Wayne. Well, it's good fun. It was good fun. That's like with the TV stuff I do now. If I had someone like that, it would be like more fun. It's like it's a lot more stressful when if you're on your own and you're not, you haven't got something to bounce off. And it was good, wasn't it? It was good. Like looking back, that was 2 series, wasn't it? That was the first 2 series I did, and then you got Pat in on the third one. It's brilliant. Really good fun.
I remember we used to get the illusions and unpack them out of the case.
Yeah, we were like little kids, weren't we? It was brilliant. It's brilliant. That's what people can't take away is that enthusiasm that we have for magic. Like it would still be similar, I think. If I don't get quite as excited, but there are still times where you are like little kids.
I've never seen illusion of that quality.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I also remember stuff arriving, and it was so like last minute, and like I remember that stretcher arriving from John Gorn, and all the foam had stuck.
Yeah.
Because the paint hadn't dried. Do you remember that? And it was stuck on the thing, and had to strip it and paint it all and whatever. Yeah. It was amazing. Like amazing.
Have you got any really good stories, things that may have gone wrong, perhaps, when you were on A Kind of Magic?
But we did before Kind of Magic. We did Joe Longthorne's.
Yeah.
We did 6 1 hours or something. It was 2 series of that.
Yeah.
And Wayne had to do a stand-up routine, which was great, but also like an illusion sequence, which is why I got involved. So I was kind of like blagging it a bit as well, because I didn't know that. I mean, I did illusions, but I hadn't done that many really. And the one that, like Wayne just said then, the best one was the Dakota chair, where they wouldn't do this anymore. I'm sure the budget was crazy, weren't it? The money that they spent on that.
Unreal.
And I can't remember what the scene was. What was the scene, Wayne? What was the scene for that?
It was a bedroom with a kid.
Right, it was a bedroom with a kid. That ain't going to work nowadays, is it?
No.
So it was a Dakota, and so they built like a proper set, like about 5 feet off the floor, 4 feet off the floor, and so they were shooting it like you would if you were on a stage, kind of thing. So they built a trap for this Dakota chair, and the trap door worked, but the trap on the Dakota kept jamming. Do you remember? And so we did like 2 or 3 goes. It just kept jamming, and And I remember I stuck my head up and I'm going, are we allowed to swear on this? But anyway, this fucking seat, well, and I did that and it slammed down. Do you remember? And it smacked me right in the nose. And cut, like a big cut here, like the blood like pouring out. We were like mental, weren't we?
Oh.
But even that we thought was hilarious.
Remember when we the steps when
So they used to spend a fortune on all these props, and then we had a guy called Richard. What was his name?
Plum.
Richard Plum. He was the designer, and he was quite precious of his stuff, like we were with the magic.
Yeah.
And one day we had these illusion steps built in house. They were all right, but it designed the actual design on the front really looked thick. So they all went to lunch, and Wayne and me were in the studio, and I said, those steps could be a lot thinner if we put like a strip, like, you know,
a black tape. Yeah.
So we ran round and found this strip, put it on, never told anyone. So if we say anything, they probably won't let us do it. Anyway, no one spotted it until Richard Plum came in. Do you remember? And it was just went mental, like mental.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But yeah. And then the other one, the best one was we did, I think to my thing, it was a bad idea. So in Mystique, the show that I was doing at the time, we had like all these characters. So I did like a vampire and a James Bond thing. And like, so I think we thought that would be a good idea for Wayne for the TV series, for the Joe Long. So he'd play these different characters. So, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Remember that one with the dancing spaghetti?
Right. No.
And then but the best was the Phantom of the Opera. So what that was Wayne, right? He built this set, and it was like an underground cave, like dungeon. It's a massive set. God knows what it cost. That was about 6 foot off the floor, and then they got a gondola on a frame on wheels, and they filled the set with dry ice. So it was like 6 foot of dry ice or smoke, and they had Wayne on a gondola with the oar thing like this, pretending to come in.
Looking like
an underground cave.
I look like Buster Keaton.
Yeah, you did. You remember? And it was the artist's dream illusion. And what we were using a trap door, and then basically the picture was of the girl. I think Wayne got off this gondola, and for no reason whatsoever, started finishing this painting off, and then turned it round, and then as he turns it round, the girl that's in the picture's now out, and Wayne's now in the picture. I think that was it. And anyway, there was a switch where there was a sheet getting lifted up, and basically, I think the girl was getting out the trap, and Wayne had to go in the trap. It was something like that. No, we didn't revolve the picture. It was basically Wayne does this, finishes the picture of the girl, takes the dust sheet, lifts it up in front of the picture, it comes down. Wayne is now turned into the girl. She like drops the sheet, she steps back, and the picture is now of Wayne. Right. That was it. Anyway, they couldn't get the trap to work. Do you remember? Not the trap, the switch. And the thing I remember on the show was we had Nigel Lithgow, who ended up being this huge producer in the States. Yeah. And who was Jeremy Van Boons, the blooming manager. Anyway, all of a sudden, a little bit of knowledge, everyone becomes a magic expert. I've learned that. So everyone was working out how to do this switch, but no one would listen. I'm on the floor, so my head's on the studio floor, so my head's like sticking up from this dry ice, like, and I just didn't say, I couldn't get a word in. And we were on like a deadline, and I just remember all I did was say, could someone just listen to me, please? Like, stop telling us how to do it. And do you remember this Jeremy Van Boons, the floor manager, complete fit, and went, right, I've had enough. Get out now.
He said,
off the set now.
He said to me, either he goes or I go.
Yeah. That was it. He goes, and Wayne fantastically. He said, then I think you better go.
That's right.
So in the end, I remember I like got banished like a little schoolboy. And as I'm walking out, I can hear this big kerfuffle going on. And Wayne, in a top hat and a cloak and his tail suit, comes flurrying off the stage. And he's gone, right, if he goes, I'm going. So we end up going back to the dressing room. Do you remember that? And Nigel coming in to sort of try and get Wayne to come back on the set. But it was because they weren't listening to the magic. They weren't, respecting it.
But the thing I got out of that is the camaraderie from you two. You had your own one another's backs.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit of a problem in magic these days. People don't have their mates' backs.
What was good, me and Russ were constantly battling, trying to get our way.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't listen to us. But Russ said one day, Wayne ain't magically affected. And they latched onto that, didn't they?
Yeah, what I used to say was, I learned it in the Mystique show with the director there. If I couldn't get my way, and you can't explain sometimes, well, you can, but it takes too long. So I used to just go, it's not magically correct. There's no answer. No matter who it is, they can't answer it. What? They just go, oh, and it's the best answer. Anyone that has that problem, just say to them, it's not magically correct. And they used to be like, oh, right, oh.
In the end, they were saying it, weren't they?
Yeah. But I do have to say, in defence, the experts, like me and Wayne, we were doing the Asra once, and Wayne's is his favourite illusion. And Nigel Lithgow came in one day and said, "Oh, the Jenny's smooth." And I remember going, and Wayne, we were like, "What do you mean? What's the Jenny?" He goes, "That body, that wife, it's the Jenny. It's the Jenny." And we were laughing like we were pissing ourselves. And it turned out that is what it was called, wasn't it?
Even they were saying to Ross, is that magically correct?
Yeah. But it still happens in TV like now. It's the same. Nothing's really changed,
And have you used that term?
Yeah, often.
I remember, Russ, you were the one who taught me into getting into the illusions.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, I'm not comfortable presenting these.
Yeah.
You say, get in the prop.
Yeah. Because what happened was, Wayne did the Joe Longthorne shows, which were good, and the comedy stuff was way better than the illusion, because we had him dressed up as Charlie Chaplin, Phantom of the Opera. There were 6 of them. I remember the best one was the Hellfire Cave to Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my Lord. Anyway, and then Wayne did those, and I remember we were filming those, weren't we, Wayne? And then I was with you, and you got called into a meeting with Tony Wolff, who was the boss at Central TV then. And I waited outside while Wayne went in, and I remember you came out after half an hour, and you were like, "Oh, we got a Saturday night series. Like, I've got my own series." And he goes, "There's just one problem though. I've got to do like David Copperfield style illusions." Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Oh fuck! Like, that's like asking me to do comedy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not Wayne's thing, really."
Yeah.
So it was but then Wayne was like, "How do I?" Wayne presenting illusions, and if they were talking ones, it was brilliant. But if it was the other kind, which is what they were wanting, I was just like, just get in the box, and then that way the girls are doing all that sort of parading around stuff. Yeah, because you can't imagine Wayne.
No,
that's not his style.
So let's move forward slightly to Blackpool, and one in particular, Blackpool, that I found excruciatingly funny, and the belly laughs were unbelievable, was the little hoax that Wayne had been playing on you for some years.
The poster.
Yes. 30-something years.
So
Nice
for
one,
those
Wayne.
viewers
Thank
that
you for
haven't
that.
been to Blackpool or haven't seen the clip, which is available online, Wayne, you describe, and then you can, Russ, talk about your reaction.
I was down to do an illusion,
Right.
which was basically a bit of a rip-off.
A bit.
A bit. A lot.
Was that conservative then?
Oh my lord!
Was
Do you
that
remember?
conservative for Wayne?
No, it was
Right.
a
But
total
in Wayne's defence, like I know, like the TV people, like I said before, when Wayne got the show, I remember you coming out and going, we've got a series. I remember you saying we, which I always thought was really lovely. You said we've got a series. It's a Saturday night, prime time on ITV, and I was like, brilliant. And he went, but they want me to do David Copperfield style illusions. Do you remember saying that? I remember it vividly.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, oh, for sake, like literally what, like that's not Wayne at all. And so then that was the battle. The battle always throughout was that. And then David Copperfield's specials were, they were being broadcast here or whatever. And then, so we had a director that was, because he's so brilliant at like all the direction and the lighting and the staging, and it's just amazing. And then our director would see these videos and fall in love with it. And so it was a fight, but I totally get why Wayne, I think, when you've got those big execs going, you've got a show, you either do that or you don't. And then it was, in fairness, it was a part of it, not all of it. It happened a few times, but not much at all.
That particular time, you said to me, I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. I found
I got to do it.
Do you remember I think it was the Impaler, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Impaler. And even the music, because if we could have afforded to use the Phil Collins track, we would have. But even the music, they had this music written that was the same big drum beat, and it was just, it was a bit cringe to say. And it wasn't you either. Do you know what I mean? I remember you walking down those steps at the beginning, and they wanted this cool looking thing, and Wayne looked great, but he's not an illusionist. Like I wouldn't be able to do a comedy thing, So he got away with it, but it was funny, wasn't it? It was a weird time. I always had that on my. I always felt really bad, a bit embarrassed.
The producers of the shows are working for the studios, and the studios and the producers have no idea of the ethics in the magic community.
No, and I have it with my job at the moment. They're great. Nowadays, I just only have to explain it, and they go, "Oh, okay," because they also know now that because the show I work on is like a long-running thing, that they need the goodwill of all the magicians. Do you know what I mean? So, it's good to have a good reputation amongst the magicians, that you're not stealing stuff, that you're not doing that kind of thing. So, but then it was a bit different and when you haven't got that control, and it was on the Joe Longthorne shows mainly, and that was the Joe Longthorne shows were before Wayne got his series. So I know Wayne didn't have as much control. It wasn't his show, and he didn't have that power that he had when you get your own show.
No.
So it was difficult.
Keep going. What else happened? So from the gist of it, I'm getting that you were told to do this illusion. Obviously.
Well, I didn't want to upset. I didn't want to upset the producer.
Yeah.
And Russ didn't want to upset me.
Yeah.
I was in a bit of a weird spot there, but anyway, we did it, and I remember that it wasn't easy, was it? I think we did that. It took 3 weekends or something. Wow. We had to come back, didn't we? 2 weekends after that, because prop didn't work. They span Wayne on it. Like one day, the first guy put him on, and when he span him, he pushed him so hard, he came off like a helicopter, literally. And the sword that he used wasn't a good prop. And I remember that it was quite a pointed sword. And I remember
Yeah.
when you fell and came all the way down as you span, you
Yeah.
came down and slashed all your back. I remember that. All the shirt and everything was
Yeah.
slashed, and it was like, right, quick.
I said to Nigel, let's go there. And I said, if you don't get me back on it now, I'll never do it again.
I'm never doing this again. Yeah.
You did it. And
So we had all that. So that was always in my head. And then in between all of this, that Joe Longthorne series ended, and then Wayne got his series. And then in the next year or so, Wayne used to go to Vegas every so often to work with Dean Martin, didn't you?
Yeah.
Atlantic City in Las Vegas. So we were always together or talking on the phone, like 2 or 3 years while we were working on those. But I just didn't realise that at whatever point he'd gone off, but he'd only go for a week and then he'd be back. So often I wouldn't even know. I'd know he's gone, but it didn't enter my mind. Anyway, so I'm not even aware, but he's gone off to Vegas to work with, or Atlantic City, weren't it? To work with Dean Martin.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe. And then I'm at home one day and there's a knock on the door and it's like, DHL or whatever, parcel delivery. Can you sign for this? It was a poster tube.
Right.
So I signed for it and I take the poster out and it's a David Copperfield live on stage tour poster, and written on it, if I remember, it was something like, you've stolen all of my illusions, you motherfucker. Wait until I see you one day, or something like that. And I genuinely crapped myself. Like, genuinely, I was mortified. Not frightened, just mortified that David Copperfield would be aware of that stuff that had gone on that Joe Longthorne show. And I always wanted to be able to,
I was going to tell you, but when you're in such a state,
nice.
I don't want to tell you.
He just let me fester for 30, how many years? So that was 88, that was 89, something like 88. So 1988, and you did years ago. So what was that? The 2019, something like that.
2018 it was.
So it was 30 years.
Yeah.
Wayne ended up admitting to it on a talk we did at the convention in 2018.
It was a picture. It was an absolute picture. Your face was a picture. And how can you do that to your mates?
Yeah, nice. A 30-year-old joke. It took 30 years for the punchline.
It brought the house down. It was the talk of the convention after that.
I was quite relieved because afterwards I thought, I don't think Copperfield really sent that. I think someone maliciously has sent that, But the worst was, why it was so believable was it was from Lake Tahoe.
Right.
And it was a poster that he had got backstage because he was in the same theatre, and it was Lake Tahoe, and I'd forgotten Wayne had gone. So I'm like, this is a real poster written, and then also from the same venue, and it was sent from the States, from Lake Tahoe.
And
anyway,
signed. Apparently you found a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Nice.
Have you still got it?
No, you know what? I wish I'd bloody kept it. I thought I was so mortified. Way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's a shame I didn't keep that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. So, Ross, thank you so much for joining Wayne and I on this coffee morning. It's been fantastic. You guys reminiscing about the past and what's going to happen maybe in the future. And thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Wayne and Mike's Coffee Morning, click that subscribe button, click the notification button if you have, for up-to-the-minute videos, and we'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.